Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the live stream, the podcast, and of course, the Portugal Club, where it is question number 60 of the Portuguese citizenship test questions. And we'll return to Lisboa, to Lisbon this morning. What is the name of the castle in Lisbon overlooking the city? Time to look that up. We'll return there. We were in Porto, weren't we? At the São João festival. On Friday, asking which Portuguese festival is it where they hit each other with hammers, plastic hammers, as it turns out. That was, as I recall, citizenship test question 59 last Friday. We're up to 60. So we'll come back to that and have a closer look because, there's another reason to return to Lisboa. A collection I saw on, Munson's morning memes. I'll be including that in a little rundown of memes this morning. They keep coming. And I've got a feeling now that memes, the actual information on them is also algorithmically tailored to get your attention. Because you remember who are the most handsome men in the world? It was the Spanish last week or the week before. Suddenly it's not. They've been relegated. And it's somebody else now. I can't remember who. And the Portuguese weren't on the list and now they suddenly are. So I've got a feeling that these memes are compiled in real time to get the ones with flags and countries that I'm drawn to. Anyway, we'll come back to all of that. And we've got some music for you this morning as well from Os de Gatos, the band who invited me to take part in their video recording was it last month or was it earlier in November? I don't know. The time is flying past, but we've got a video from them, some fantastic Portuguese ska music. I went to the Lisbon Games Week after the show on Friday. I was pictured in Lisbon with Jimmy Neutron. I'm not sure who he is, but it was fun to be. I'm a bit of a sucker for the anyone dressed up in a great big suit. I like to have a selfie with them. And there I was on Friday. Went down with the oldest to have a look at Lisbon Games Week at the fair at the Phil. Do you know the Phil? The Feira Internacional de Lisboa. That's the government's own. I believe it's a state-run effort. The Games Week is as well. Very good. Very, very, very good indeed. I've got a video. I tried to find the oldest console, even before they were called consoles, to entertain you with, and I think I did it with the one that I chose. But we've got some music. We've got a video from the Lisbon Games Week. And, of course, your messages this morning. How are you doing? Fantastic, T-Duck. We've got this on this day in history has returned. For the winter mornings, I think it's very suitable, isn't it? When we're hunkering down inside, when temperatures have plummeted beneath 20 here in Portugal, we're taking refuge in a little bit of history. Fantastic. Chris was in early, I have to say, at 7:42. That's early. And I sent a message to him to find out how he's doing. Are we going to get a Capricorn Chronicle on the public transport of His Majesty's United Kingdom, I wonder? YouTube hasn't sorted out the labels yet, has it? So you've got your I suppose numerological rather than personal nickname labels on your YouTubes this morning, everybody. Duck22, Bon Dia Alegria Gumpers and Bon Dia Gumpers, happy. I hope everyone had a great weekend. We did here. On this day in history then, from Duck22, 1642, Dutch explorer Abel Tasman. Oh, of course. I was just thinking to myself, I've never heard of Tasman. I've heard of Tasmania. There's a connection. Becomes the first European to reach Tasmania, pretty much as far as you can go around the world, right? It's named after him. He originally called it Antuj van Diemenslanden. Yeah, I can see why it hereinafter got referred to as Tasmania. In 1859, Charles Darwin published on the origin of species, the first print run of 1,250 copies sold out on one day, speculating about our origins. Has that been debunked yet? In 1971, D.B. Cooper hijacks a plane, demands 200 grand in the dollars, parachutes out over the Pacific Northwest with the cash, and is never seen again. So how did they get the money to the plane? Still the only unsolved skyjacking in US history. Wow. Morning, Mel. Bom dia to you as well. Igualmente, tudo bem. Bom dia, Campos e Feliz Segunda. Loving the check-in this morning at 6 minutes past 8 on the 24th. Hey, look, a month to go until Christmas Eve. Welcome. Yes, I'm mentioning Christmas before the 1st of December. Welcome to a new week and all the possibilities it presents. Presents. Did someone say presents? Have a great one. Cheers, Coach. Lovely to see you here as well. Let's have a bit of music then and listen to the new tune of Ushsai de Gatos. It's called, they are featured with Bombosh y Tombosh, and I think the tune is called Shka de Gatos, or it's eponymous, and it is Ushsai de Gatos by Ushsai de Gatos, leaving on all fours like a cat. Of course, is the origin of the name. We'll come back to the Portuguese citizenship test question in a little while. I'm just about getting used to saying that. Let's have a little bit of music this morning, and I think this band will forgive me for playing their music this morning.
A festa já não tem nada para dar e já não resta nem o cartucho para queimar. Se a bateria está fraca e a banda a dar barraca, será que é desta que irá arrebentar? O protesta, assim não vai dar. O feedback não se aguenta e a batida sempre muito lenta. Só está tudo a dançar, pés a mexer, alegria no ar. Com ska de gatas não há que enganar e siga a dança sem parança.
Pretty awesome, isn't it? Bit of Portuguese ska there. Ska de Gatos. I think that will be the name of the track then. The band is Ushsai de Gatos. We spoke to Pedro, of course, didn't we? Great video there, Jorge Ventura. It's a good name for a video director, isn't it? And yeah, the big drum band there, Bombosh y Trombosh. Bombosh y Tombosh. You saw there as well. So yeah, excellent video, great band, and that hoping to broadcast from that lovely location as well. Got chatting to the owners of the house, and they very kindly invited us to stream and film from that lovely location overlooking the valley there where you'll find Miranda de Corvo. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. I think probably when in the springtime of next year. I was hoping to get there this year, but I think what? No, that's the name. No, this video isn't created by AI. This is warts and all. IRL live transmission. with all that means. I think we're going to become the vinyl ultimately, aren't we, of the broadcasting world, in a world of AI slop. There will be people like me in the distant corners of the broadcasting galaxy who still insist on doing it live and all that can mean catastrophically, with so many variables and things going wrong. Not slick, but real and authentic for as long as I can possibly manage. Oh, going back to, so thanks to Soda Guttiche. Great tune, great fun, love it. What a great start to a Monday morning, Mel? And yep, skiddy up. Hola, bon dia Malta from the Porky Feet Andera as well. We'll do it live. Yes, Gumpers do it live, even if our back is hurting. And still got a bit of sleep in our eyes. Oh, yes, if you are still feeling a little bit sleepy, lots of lovely memery this morning, Munson's morning memery. What if instead of stepping outside my comfort zone, because I can get a bit like into the old, personal development stuff. Let's meet up 7:30 and plan our day, and we'll have accountability, and then we'll do a check again tomorrow morning. There's a place for that. There's also a place for staying inside your comfort zone. What instead of stepping outside of your comfort zone, you step into an even comfier zone? Oh, that sounds nice this morning, isn't it? Perhaps take a nap in a large, fluffy dinner roll. Yeah, my back's a bit sore this morning. It might be something to do with suddenly having to break into a sprint to the coach station. We got there quite late on Friday, just the way it went. And of course, yes, the first podcast of the new resident podcast, pretty successfully, even though I say so myself, thanks to the marketing of the esteemed publication of which I'm part, and now the co-host of the news review and facilitator of the interview, which will be coming out on a Wednesday. So news review on a Friday, which came out last Friday, and the big interview on a Wednesday, which we'll be recording tomorrow, and it will come out on Wednesday. Really great talking to Natasha Don. Go over to the Portugal Residents' own YouTube channel, or Spotify, actually. You can listen on Spotify. Some people were complaining about the visuals, saying that Natasha had some very poor visuals. A point taken, but really it was to listen to rather than to watch. And I think she is going to be getting a new laptop, possibly as a result of she needed one anyway. The keys hanging off it. Looks like a proper hacker's or a journalist laptop, thoroughly battered by experience and high levels of daily production. So we may be able to do something about that by next Friday. But it was really enjoyable talking to Natasha, and she picked up and goes into a deeper level 3 Portuguese news stories of her interest. So we'll do that again on Friday. Seemed to work very well last Friday. Yeah. Then on to the bus down to Lisbon. And we went to the show where you saw me pictured with Jimmy Neutron, and we'll have a little look at one of the stands there where there's a computer that some of us might actually remember as well. I've got that lined up. So here we are at the. Oh, hold on a minute. That's a little bit of a spoiler. I hope you didn't see that. We'll play that in a moment. But yes, coming home, I allowed it took 3/4 of an hour or thereabouts to come over from Sete Rios in Lisboa to the Parque dos Nações, where the exhibition was taking place. Whistle stop, incisive shot into the capital to do that. And I thought, okay, 3/4 of an hour, allow the same sort of time to get back to Sete Rios after the show. And the lad seemed to agree. He did some good navigation, actually, finding the show. I said, you've got to get me to the show. It's on you. I think that's quite good training, isn't it, for a teenager? And we're making our way. So far, so good on the Linha Vermelha, the red line. It's changing at San Sebastian. If you've ever used the metro in Portugal, in Lisbon, you'll know these stations. Changing to the Linha Azul at around, must have been about 25 to 7, coaches at 7, 25 to 22. Suddenly, we're not allowed to go down to the platform. Well, I'm thinking, hey, what's going on here then? I'm glad I allowed a little bit of extra time. A perturbation on the line. The service had been suspended. People waiting to get onto the platform. Station staff stopping people getting onto the platform so as not to cause any public safety issues. So I'm thinking, is it local to this station? So I ran down the other side. I said, look, come on, let's go onto the other platform and we'll get a train going the other direction, and then we'll come back via this station, but we'll already be on the train. Pushed onto a train on the other platform. Con licença, pulled the lad into the train. So the tension is building at this point. And it's not going anywhere. People start getting off the train, and I'm hearing announcements, and I'm hearing, oh yeah, the little suffix to the announcement is in English. Sorry, trains have been suspended. We'll keep you informed. Thank you for your comprehension of this matter. Yikes! We've got a coach to catch in about 20 minutes now. We've got 2 stops to go. What do we do? Do we run there? Do we go upstairs? Do we order an Uber? Stood in the street, ordered an Uber. Now, I'm waving at green and black cabs as well in the capital. And I can't remember, because I've reported on this before long ago, maybe 8 years ago when we were first here. The numbers on the cab tell you whether they're available, right? And there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I couldn't remember for the life of me. So I'm waving at cabs, and they're thinking, what a pillock. Doesn't he know that a number 2 on the top of the car, as it were, means I'm not available, whatever it was. And I'm ordering an Uber at the same time. 9 minutes. I've got like, I don't know, maybe less than 20 minutes to get to Seterios coach station. And the Uber's going to take 9 minutes to get there, let alone do the journey. Still waving at black and green cabs. One stops. Tem dinero? I'm saying, Seterios, se faz favor. Tem dinero? Oh, no, I haven't got any cash on me. And as he's driving off, the boy says, yes, I've got some cash. Hit the back of the cab. Stop. Yes, tem dinero. So we get in the cab, and then it starts moving, and then it comes to a grinding halt in it's rush hour, isn't it? In Lisbon, 10 minutes to 7 now. And we've got the equivalent of 2 stops to go on the metro to get to Seterios. He tries to get us up as close to Seterios as possible. I recognize some shops, restaurants that are near the station. We're going to bail. We're going to run the rest of the journey. And he's saying something similar because proper Portuguese Lisboeta taxi driver only speaks Portuguese. I'm trying to say, do you think we should run in my pidgin Portuguese? Anyway, bung him some money, jump out the car. Come on, boy, let's run. And we run to the station, actually with 5 minutes to spare, but we didn't know. What happens with the coaches, it seems, even though they're leaving at 7, they open the doors at 7. So we had a little bit of extra time there. But crikey, sweaty stuff. And I might have put me back out a little bit in that run. So cut a long story short, I think I might go back to bed and rest my back. For reasons I won't go into right now, I went for a walk at 1 o'clock yesterday morning. Couldn't sleep. And went out for a walk at 1 o'clock and walked around San Martin de Porto up and down for about over an hour. And I think I did myself more harm than good. It is with back pain. Sometimes it's good to keep going. Sometimes you need to rest. I think I probably needed to rest. So I might do that today. Might go back to bed. Back to the comfort zone. Anyway, here's a highlight from the show. Do you recognize this computer?
Munson of the Good Morning Portugal show. And we've seen me and other Carla here. And it's me, Amalio. So there are kids playing the ZX Spectrum, which might be the only game console here. It wasn't even called a game console, was it? It was called a computer back in the day. And we're looking at this again, world's first ZX Spectrum. Are we going to see that here? But actually, it's the world's first ZX Spectrum Museum. That's how old you are, if you remember the ZX Spectrum. And in Cantanhede, Portugal. So that's a good 100 plus kilometers away, up towards Coimbra way, isn't it? And here we are. Let's have a look at let's bring back a few memories for some old giffers who like a ZX Spectrum. And there they are, the consoles right there. And that beauty there. I thought that said bangers in space. Not interested anymore. Oh right, okay. Look, there's a more modern situation. Nintendo. I recognise some of these. Oh look, this is the museum of Sinclair. That's right, wasn't it Andero in our community who said there was a Sinclair museum with the calculators? Did you have one of these? Can't see the detail very well on these, but look. ZX80, check it out, ZX81, 82, no. It went to the Spectrum, didn't it, after that? How much was that retailing for? About 70 quid, wasn't it, at the time?
Absolutely crazy.
Look at these Sinclair keyboards, Spectrums, +2. Oh, dear old Clive Sinclair. I mean, that's the iconic console there, isn't it? Before they were called consoles. Amazing. Who collected all of this? Incredible. Anyway, yeah, Mutant Hero Ninja Turtles. Ah, look, Sinclair's very own cassette machine for your programs. On a cassette there. A Timex computer. Who had one of those? And look, this is when we went into the console. There's an Atari! Super Pong by Atari. Sega, Mark III, Nintendo. You can read all of these yourself, of course, but oh my goodness, you might have had one of these. Can't really see that. That's a nice bit of styling. The Neo Geo and some early Game Boys as well. Trip down memory lane with the ZX Spectrum, or the Sinclair Museum, I suppose it could be called, couldn't it? Ciao, ciao.
Isn't that amazing? So yes, Andero, the Porky Feet, has been there. Yeah, been to that museum in Cantanhede a few times. Cantanhede is a strange old town, isn't it? I've been there once or twice, and it's where the big Expo Fasik is, isn't it? Every year, where big bands play. Farming town, essentially, right? A farming market town. And who knew that there was a Sinclair museum nestling in those streets there? And did they actually have a C5 as well, Andero? Bringing back a few memories. I had one of those, says Coach Turner, known as the Juice Ian 100 today. Oh, hola, bon dia. Hope you all had a good weekend. Cheers, Gary. Good to see you here as well this morning. Reverse. Now, suddenly, I don't know what you're talking about. Reverse Polish notation. That sounds like a military move, doesn't it? I remember Sinclair. I had an HP Calc, and my first computer was a VIC-20. Yes. Yes. RPN. Those were the days. What is that? What does RPN do? Right. A few bits of Munson's morning memery, sounding more and more like Alan Partridge every single morning, aren't we? Accidental Partridge. Or am I doing it on purpose? The old guy in Europe is joining us with his bird of the month. And great minds were thinking alike. I saw one of these birds myself, thought to take a photo of it and send it to him. And he's like, yeah, that's my bird of the month. So we'll chat to the old guy in Europe in about 10 minutes as well. A few of these memes then, are they memes or are they memographics, I suppose? What's this one? I've got the price of beer. Or you see, this is what's happening to me now. When I'm scrolling X, formerly Twitter, I'm looking for the word Portugal and the flag. And are they doing this on purpose? And are my suspicions that these are compiled in real time as soon as they find out your what's it called? What's your location? Not your IPN, whatever it is. As soon as they know where you're located, do they lure you in with some reference to your location and interests? Ranking of the best countries to visit in your lifetime. Thailand, number one, according to Stats Globe, whoever they are. Who owns Stats Globe, I wonder? And thanks to T-Duck for decoding the numbers on top of a taxi. Why on earth do you need to know how many people are in a taxi? I wonder. I suppose if there's one person in there, it's it's taken. Maybe could that not be more simple though? Greece. Pete, of course, who isn't here yet, but may well be lurking. I bet he's been to all of these countries, right? Thailand, I've been to. Greece, I've been to. Indonesia. Have I been to Indonesia? I don't think so. Portugal, I've been to. I'm there now. Woohoo! Sri Lanka, South Africa. But look at that. Portugal is fourth, which makes me think that these are being tailored to my taste now, strangely enough. Is that it is technologically possible, isn't it? But well done anyway. I come from one of the countries listed there, the top best countries to visit in your lifetime. But once you get to about 50 countries, that's a third of the world's countries anyway, isn't it? So I don't know how good this list is, but you might see a few that you've been to. United States, yes. Australia. I've been lucky enough to been to quite a few of those, and it's not over yet. Suddenly, I want to go to Dubai. I had a yearning to go to Dubai after hearing a Mo Goldat talk. I've been listening to quite a lot about him. He formerly of Google X and now an AI spokesman. Never wanted to go to Dubai before. Suddenly I want to, not for the chocolate, honestly. Okay, so that's that one. Places you should visit in your lifetime. Portugal doing well. There was it fourth on there. And then this mystery. Oh dear. None of us can see this, can we? Are these the handsome men? I wonder. Countries with the most handsome men. Spain topped the list. Now, I can't remember if it was 2025's list or not, but Epic Maps this time are saying that India has the most handsome men, followed by the United States. Well done, you Americans here with us this morning, followed by Sweden. I'll just do the top 5, Japan and Canada. I mean, usually Frenchmen and Italians are in there, aren't they? And of course, British men. They're number 12. Spain have dropped to 14. And Portugal finally make the cut after the aforementioned Thailand at 35. The only thing I can remember from this last week was Mel saying, Spanish men are indeed handsome, with a little bit of a crush and a soft spot there, I think, for the Spaniards. But it all changed this week, it would appear. And of course, I think even on this meme, they say, yes, it's a little bit subjective attractiveness, but there you go. Indians for this week, or maybe just this hour, who knows? On that. We fare pretty well here as well, of course. No surprises here. How much does beer cost? Average price for half a litre of domestic draft beer. It makes it sound so delicious, doesn't it, when you go in? Can I have half a litre of your domestic draft, please? Makes it sound like something that should be delivered in a bucket or a bag. Below, we're in the, of course, in the below €2. It's half a litre, isn't it? So that's why it's still not 2.5, is it? Not €2.5. You can still get a Fino or an Imperial for a euro in many places, can't you? Here in Portugal, the most expensive would appear to be up in Scandinavia. Look at that, prices have up to nearly €8.5, €6.5. France is quite expensive for beer. UK we know, and Ireland, but Portugal doing pretty well. Only one or two countries that are cheaper there, and I think we're overpriced in that meme actually, but there you go. I'm doing pretty well with that meme-graphic this morning. James has put his glasses on especially to take a bit of a squint at that one. What else have we got for you this morning? Great news that Jethro Tull. There's so many awesome bands coming to Portugal. I was talking to somebody recently who went to see Jethro Tull. I think an American couple who I met quite recently said they went to see Ian. What's he called? Ian Anderson. Not a one-legged flute player, but he stands on one leg, doesn't he? And I mean, Living in the Past is such a good tune. If you're not familiar with Jethro Tull, that's a great introduction to their work. 1968 to 2026, the Curiosity Tour, taking in the Coliseu do Recreios on the 13th of March of next year. How about that? Jethro Tull coming to Portugal. And I've got a cartoon here, which I'll leave on the screen when James joins us, which I think we'll do the Portuguese citizenship test with him as well. Querida, el meu vejo gordo, velho, calvo e feio. Não se preocupe, says his beautiful wife, pelo menos a sua visão é boa. Let's see who can decode and understand that. And here's a meme I forgot to share this with you. I thought we'd get around to talking about food as we usually do when we're talking about 50 Plus Fitness Coach. I can relate to Alice. She just keeps randomly eating and drinking everything she sees with the hope that it might actually solve all her problems. That's basically the plot, isn't it, of Alice in Wonderland right there. Okay, should we give him a nice big round of applause and bring him onto the screen? Yes! The old guy in Europe, no less. Hola, bon dia. Tudo bem? Oh, come on, James. You've got to unmute. You've been doing this long enough. You're still muted there. Unless there's a technological error. And, let's see if it works now.
Disco.
Não faz mal.
No, you know, I get on and I have the earbuds with the microphone, so I turn it off just to make sure that if I sneeze or cough or sniff or whatever, it's not coming across, and then I forget to turn it back on again. So
the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Thank you very much.
Yes.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I'm well on my way to hell.
Quick check-in. Right. And more talk of Sinclair Spectrums, it would appear. And you can see a C5. Oh my goodness, we have to come back to this computer talk in a little while. But let's find out how you're doing first. Yeah, tudo bem, como estás?
Muito bem. Obrigado. Fantástico.
Fantastico, in fact. Very good. Very good, very good. And so how's life treating you? Just taking it nice and easy, going into the winter in I nearly said Ericeira, but no.
Espinho now, yes. I make that mistake every once in a while when I'm going to make a quick reference, about where I live, and there's like, or something that happens in I don't usually even get the out. I just think and then go, no, Spino. So,
yeah. So
it's still relatively new. I've been here, 8 months now. So,
Yeah, but people might think, this is how language works, isn't it? If you repeat something often enough, it catches on. Like Erespino might be the new name.
Espera. And that's probably a real word. That sounds like a real word.
It does, doesn't it? Somebody will tell us Pete will tell us what that means in just a moment. He doesn't sound very fond of Dubai, as it turns out. Have you any inkling to go to Dubai? I didn't until yesterday.
No, I've for some reason, and it's probably some subconscious. Well, now maybe I'm bringing it to the conscious, but the Middle East in general, as a description, generates fear in my body.
Does it?
Yes, and I know it's not fair. But it's the probably the consistent representation of terrorists and Middle Eastern cartel bosses and torture and war and all those images that you get from the movies. They go, nah, I don't need to go there.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a really big fan of forests and trees and lots of green. And all the images I see of the Middle East are sand and dirt and dry and hot.
Yes.
So,
I don't think there are many forest walks in Dubai, to be fair, unless it's under some massive, biome that they've created.
And I'm not a big city guy. If I go on vacation, I'm not going to go see all the cities. I'm going to go look for the nature spots. So for those reasons, I'm not attracted to massive wealth and yachts and super giant luxury hotels. So those things on the other end of it aren't. So there's just basically my overall sense of the Middle East is it's not someplace I have to take time and spend money to go visit.
Yes. No, fair enough. And my only recollections of the Middle East are changing planes there. And the very first time, I think, which sort of plays right into your stereotype there, which you've owned beautifully. Thank you for that. Was, I think, a flight to Singapore when I maybe have been about 16, and the plane lands on the tarmac in whichever Middle Eastern state it was. I don't know, Bahrain or some, one of the stopover points. I don't think we even got off, but the door opens of the plane. And that heat comes in, like heat I'd never experienced in my whole life, at night as well. So you see heat haze as you look out of the window, twinkling lights in the heat haze. Then this incredible, overwhelming heat comes in, and somebody with a gun, like a security personnel with a rifle over their shoulder. It's a long time ago, I guess, but it doesn't say welcome to Bahrain, does it? Especially with overwhelming heat and guns and stuff.
Yeah, if anything, if it's not a threat, it's I'm here to protect you. I'm not going to let you get killed. It's like, okay, thanks.
Good. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So anyway, I'll keep that to myself about going to. Where would you like to go? I know you've got a great fondness for Italy, and you liked Ireland. Where else? What's on your list?
Well, initially coming over, and it's still a part of my plan. One of the reasons that I chose to move to a European country was so that I could see more of Europe. And I've, again, forests, just the name and stereotypes, the Black Forest in Germany. It's like, ooh, I need to go see that sometime. And I'm sure it's not, the movies of the witches and all the creatures in the dark, dark forest, it's not going to be that. But there's something about that. But I did take 2 years of German in high school, so I can. At this point, I think I now speak a little more Portuguese than I do German, which is still very little. But sometimes when I'm trying to find the Portuguese word for something, the German word for it pops up. It's like, that was high school days. So it's like, wow, when you do learn something, it sticks.
Yes, it can do, can't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'd like to get up to Scotland as well. And as you mentioned, Italy. I'm not really it's not quite fair, but my visual images of Spain is a lot of dry, hot desert areas. And I know they have it, but they've also got forests and hills and mountains.
And handsome men, we discovered.
And apparently handsome men.
Now the handsome men have moved to India.
So. Yes. So, and I've been to France, although that's not really fair because it was really Paris, and I didn't care for Paris that much for all the reasons I said about big cities and so on. Plus, there was an attitude, at least that I experienced, and it may be limited, but it was the experience I had of sort of I don't know, a snobbiness or arrogance against.
I can't believe it.
Against Americans. Now, it may be anyone who doesn't speak French. It may be more general than that. But I had the experience where this friend of mine and I had gone to lunch in just outside of Paris in a French restaurant. Had a lovely lunch. We had a great conversation. We got up and went to the counter to pay, and the only guy that was working there, except maybe the chef, was having a conversation with someone kind of off to the side. We were in view, but he just continued having this conversation while we were standing there waiting to pay for our lunch. And my friend, who had been living in Paris for a while, and she's Mexican, so it wasn't just an American attitude, I guess. And she spoke French, but of course not to the standards of Parisians, I'm guessing. Yes. And so she says, politely in French, something, excuse me, just trying to get his attention. And he came over with an attitude of, why the hell are you bothering me?
Ooh la la!
Well, we'd be happy to leave without paying, but his attitude was just like, meh.
Merde alors! Well, you want to pay for some meal? Is it not enough to enjoy the best cuisine in the world?
Yes.
In fact, Clouseau was working there.
And it's not fair to judge an entire place. Probably these places that I have been that I didn't care for that much, I should go back to and see if I have a different experience of it. But in terms of making a list of the places you want to go, it's like, no, that one's not on the list. That one has been checked off.
Been there, done that.
Don't need to do that.
I think we can safely say, James, that there is a certain pride among the Parisians that does sometimes come across as a little bit distant and unfriendly. But, very fair of you to maybe try it. Again, maybe not.
Yeah, if I'm really, like at the bottom of my list, I've been all the places like, maybe I'll try, France again. Or maybe I'll try, the country of France, the countryside of France as opposed to the city.
Yes. If you're going back to France, go somewhere else, I would suggest.
Yeah, the
beautiful country.
Trouble with that anywhere, although it's getting better with technology, when you don't speak the language, the farther you get from metropolitan city centers, the less English you're going to find people able to understand and speak to you. So that is another sort of caution. But from the technology I'm seeing, you can practically just talk into a box and it will say whatever you want it to say in the other language.
And
right back at you. So that may not be as much of a concern as when I first traveled. So, and I do have to say for Italy, one of the many appeals of it for me is I had the complete opposite energetic experience. We have in Paris, we've got the guy who's angry that he has to take our money. And in Italy, as soon as I stepped even just out the door of the plane, the energy of it was just like a great big hug, like, oh, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Come, we must go have a meal, was sort of how it felt. Beautiful. And then the people I ran into were just friendly and outgoing. And I've said this before, sort of I lose words every once in a while, but a lot more energetic in terms of their expression and all that than the Portuguese. They're both embracing, they're both accommodating and loving, but the extrovert is Italy and the introvert is Portugal in my experience of them. So that it wasn't overwhelming. It was just, usually I needed to go take a rest after too much of that. So and I love the language. The language is just, it's one of the things, learning Portuguese, it's like, okay, well, that's a Romance language. If I can get that down, then the other Romance languages will be easier for me to access. Because so many of the words are identical and similar, and grammatical structure and those kinds of things are similar enough that if you've got one down, you can, I'm not saying they're the same, but you can wrestle with it in a way that you can get more of it from nothing than you do when you're first starting any new language. So
yes.
Yeah, so Europe, I think, is primarily on my list. There are other places that I would love to see that are far, far from Europe, like Australia and New Zealand, or places I haven't been. It's like, oh, I think I'd like to go there someday, but we'll see.
Europe by rail, I think, is such a great opportunity for us, isn't it? And that should improve. You'll be able to get to Madrid. Well, they keep saying this, but
yeah, I have to live long enough to be able to take advantage of that.
That's true. The new airport. Will I live to see the new airport?
Yes, right.
Life goals.
Yeah. When they're flying my coffin back to my country of origin.
From the new airport or the old airport. Not funny. Right, okay. Matty, not a big fan, it would appear. I have been to France on my way to Portugal from the Netherlands, and each time I tried to be in France as least as possible, driving really fast. Is there a warrant out for you there, Matty? Ask Peter. Peter's got other suggestions for you this morning.
I'm sure he does.
Yes, Matty, you love it. Growing up 30 kilometers from the French border and having a French military base in town, I got my full of French for life. Oh, we can console ourselves just by watching a Ratatouille every now and then, which I think beautifully sums up the relationship between the French and the Americans fantastically. Right. Where were we? The old guy and his bird. We've got a Portuguese citizenship test question to do. I want to do that with you. We've got to decode that cartoon and your bird of the month. There we go. Great minds thinking alike, because I saw this wader yesterday in Foz de Relio, also on the beach. Though, look at this. Somebody had made this on the beach. That is not a graphic. That is a photograph of somebody who'd made some, not roadkill. What's it called? Driftwood. There might be some roadkill in there.
A different kind of bird.
Yes, that's right. But these are old bits of stick made into a beautiful heart. And not far from there, this fella or lady, I don't know,
I don't know. I think they all pretty much look the same with that particular species. So
okay. So what got you? So we've chosen the same bird this month. What got you onto this particular bird?
Well, it's about a 10-minute walk to the continent from where I live, and I take one of my old guy in your videos was a walk along the Ribeira Mocho, which they built a boardwalk that goes along the stream that takes me pretty much most of the way to the continent. So weekly I go walk up there, do my groceries, and in the last, I don't know, several weeks when I've gone by there, I've seen this huge, I think it's called an egret. Some people say egret, but also they call them herons, and I don't know the difference. I don't know enough about birds to know what's the difference between a heron and an egret, except maybe the name. But it would take off, and I could see it was taking off from the water. And but it was I was always, probably 50 to 100 meters away by the time it took off. It was very, very shy.
Yes.
And it heard me walking or got a glimpse of me and said, I'm out of here. But that's more or less what I saw, which is a great way to be able to identify, because there's a couple of different white, the garça, as I see it, is translated to heron in Portuguese. So, but there's a difference in size. Some are bigger and some are smaller, at least in the US. And when it comes to size and something looks almost identical visually, you don't know. There's nothing to compare it to. You can only tell one's bigger and smaller if they're like side by side. But there's a certain smallness to the bird. And I saw the yellow feet. I saw the black bill. I said, okay, so that's this one, because the other one has kind of a greener bill and I think has black feet. So those kinds of things help to make the distinctions. But that's what I saw as it was taking off. Once it's full flight, the head is pulled back and the feet are pulled up, so it's harder to see. But yeah,
I've always had this down as a white egret. The heron is quite different, isn't it? Once you give it a good look.
Yeah, and well, I've seen birds that look very much like this one. Like I think there's one called a snowy egret, which is a very small, all white bird that looks like that. And then I've seen, I don't know, I've seen small herons that are not. I mean, and this is a fairly small, delicate bird. It's not like I have so many of the American names. The great blue heron, which is very big, huge bird. This is, I mean, well, I can't see my hands, but it's, probably the bird itself is not much more than the width of my shoulders, from the breast to the tail. So anyway, I see it as kind of a delicate, really pretty bird. And once it's flying, it's very graceful. The feather down the back of the head there is a breeding plumage that, it's talking about, maybe it's a Spanish egret or heron.
Yes, of course, Indian one. Very, very good. Heron is the grey egret. Oh, okay. We've got loads of herons on the canals. I love herons, actually. They're so majestic, aren't they? There's one near Hemel that can be stroked and hand-fed. That's funny, isn't it, how that over decades, these birds become tamer and tamer. I'd love to get that close to a heron, but there you go. So are we're going to call it the white egret then, are we, for the sake
of this is the
bird of the
Portuguese name, because I translated garça, and garça is heron in Portuguese. So let's call that would be small white heron in Portuguese.
Yeah, okay, the small white heron.
Again, I'm not an expert birder, certainly not an expert birder, even farther from that in Portugal. So, maybe if I went on some guided bird walks, I would be able to get some.
Well, there's a thing.
Distinctions between, why is it called a heron, or is it called a heron? What do you call it? Because I've just got my bird guide, which is fairly reliable, but, because I don't know the language, I don't know if it's being translated correctly or. What?
Yeah, well, that might come up, and I'm sure there are bird tours, aren't there? Birding tours here in Portugal. Morning to you, Jackie. Thank you for that, then, James. The white egret we'll go with for the time being, and this is, I guess, it's reticular activation. Everybody will see them now. We've been talking about them. For God's sake, bon dia gumpers, you're forgiven, Welsh Jackie. Good to see you this morning. Right, from birds to cartoons then this morning. I thought this was pretty funny. Did you get it, James?
Not the Portuguese one. I don't have enough of the vocabulary. I didn't fully get it. I may have gotten kind of a gist, but
yeah, well, it's great when you do translate it, which I had to do as well. To be fair, there's some good words in here. Querida, my darling, my love.
I see myself as
I'm becoming
fat, or fat me.
Yes, it's like I see myself as, or I guess you could sort of translate that more loosely as I'm getting fat, old, bald, and ugly. And guess what the wife says? Well, don't worry. At least your eyesight's good. There you go. And let's also go to the
dear sweet thing.
Oh yeah,
such a loving woman.
Yes, you're great eyesight, love.
Always finding the bright spot.
Yes, you're always very honest and authentic with me. Thank you very much. Right, let's also go to the Portuguese citizenship test question. All of these are up to number 60 now. I don't know if you've had a stab at any of these, James. I think you might have done when you're on there.
I've done a few. It's on the school site.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to today's, which is, yes, number 60. And the question is, what is the name of the castle in Lisbon overlooking the city? No one's voted yet. Is it São Jorge Castle? Is it the Belém Tower, which has popped up in earlier questions? Or is it Almorol Castle? Do you want to have a go at that?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not Belém, because that one's down low and right on the water.
Correct.
The last one doesn't sound at all familiar to me, so I would go with the first one.
Me too. I'm going to go with that São Jorge Castle. Is that the one where where Portugal was saved from the Moors by someone chucking himself into the gate and getting crushed there? Was that São Jorge? But anyway, let's find out. Let's see what people are guessing in the comments, and many comments we have too. So let's go through a few of those. What was your first computer? Were you an early geek or nerd or techie?
No, not early at all. The only computer I've ever owned has been an Apple. I started with Apples and have used them ever since.
Yes.
Since then, when I've been I've had a few jobs where I was required to use a different computer than an Apple computer, and it felt more clumsy and unfamiliar, obviously. But the argument has been going on forever, which is better. This is I guess it's just a human thing. We have to one up and one down things. Mine is better. No, mine is better.
Yeah.
And I learned when I was a hairstylist, I went to a hair color class, and the first question the instructor asked was, what is the best hair color to use? And instinctively, immediately, my mind says, well, it's got to be the one you're using.
Yes.
And so, people are, L'Oreal, blah, blah. And it's like, and she picked me, and I said, it seems to me to be the one that you're familiar with, the one that you use. And she said, exactly. And I think that applies to so many things, like this argument about which is the best computer. It's the one you're familiar with, the one you can navigate easily because you've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
For me, the joke I make is I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And I was done, and I'm looking. I say, all right, where's the link or the button for off? And I asked someone, she said, oh, it says power on. And I was like, what? You've got a button that says on that you use to turn it off, or something like that. It was the complete opposite of what you'd be looking for. So it didn't make any sense. And I always found Apple to be fairly intuitive.
Not so much, but yeah, totally get that. So you're an Apple man through and through, it would appear.
Yep.
RPN apparently was a backwards way of entering into a calculator. Oh, sounds like it should be against the law. Morning all, a tad late, but I have been buying infeasibly large and double entendre vegetables, misses, and half a ton of chicken this morning. Yes, a few C5s. Cantonadia is kind of an anomaly. It is great town with all the amenities. Not sure why it is where it is. It was recommended to us as a place to live actually long ago. When we went, we thought this isn't us at all. But I imagine, like a lot of Portuguese places, once you scratch the surface and get to know it better, like Caldas de Rainha, in fact, it grows on you. RPN is also called postfix notation because the operator, comes after the numbers. We're still no clearer on this, but we'll take your word for it.
And I do have to say, my experience so far in Portugal is the best, not to like what I've just been talking about. I'm realizing the best place to be, you ask the Portuguese that live there, they'll tell you that place is the best place to be in Portugal, just like Portugal is the best country to be in. They love where they are. And from what I've heard, anecdotally, they don't tend to move a lot.
Yes,
they pretty much like to stay where they grew up or near where they grew up and love where they are. So
Yep. Love the One You're With. Who sang that? Which band was it? Love the One
Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young.
Yes, there's a lot of sense in that tune, isn't there? For sure.
Well, who else? Well, I don't know. I guess you can hold love in your heart. But I'm going to say, on a physical level, who else are you going to love? Like the one you're with.
Yeah. Well, it makes it a bit easier, doesn't it? Rather than you continually yearning. Right. Where did we get to in the comments here? We're talking about RPN. Didn't expect to be doing that this morning. Okay, taxis in some countries offer ride share, so they put the number of passengers so you can flag them if they have a spare seat. Oh, that's inconvenient if you're in a hurry. Normally 3 plus 5 equals, but RPN says 3 enter 5 plus. Suddenly it's all clear. Thank you. Cheers.
Still don't know. I don't even know what RPN is. So.
I'm a mudball with these things, but yeah, thank you for trying to explain that to us. Much appreciated. Mo Goldat is amazing, says Mel. I'm beginning to agree. Yes, today's Indian men are the most handsome, sponsored by the Indian Travel Board. It's a horrid place full of dolphin cruelty, immigrant worker deaths, and people who think the White House renovations are tasteful. You don't get an RPN, you get a TDS there, I think. Blimey, from T-Duck anyway. Had a brilliant massage in Vietnam. I don't think we want to hear any more about this, Peter. Interrupted by the inevitable huge group of the aforementioned T-Duck. And thank goodness the masseuses had face masks. Makes Chris's train smell. What is going on in the chat this morning? One of my cycling buddies went to see Jethro this year. Piping still excellent, singing not so much. Well, it happens to all artists. I don't think many singers become greater with old age, do they, to be fair?
Vocal cords just don't work quite the same as you age. That's
Yeah.
why you really got to appreciate singers who are of an advanced age who can still sing very well. They've
Yes.
clearly worked at keeping those vocal cords working right.
And it's probably best if they stick to new material that they can sing rather than trying to belt out the old classics that you loved, because it can go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
And,
Change keys, shift the range.
It's unfair, isn't it? It's unfair to. I mean, you listen to Rod Stewart now; he sounds like an old lady whistling. It's like no disrespect, although that sounded very disrespectful. Bon dia, mad rush here this morning for the Queen Convict for some reason. Pre-Christmas promos going out for the gym and for the new year. That's the best time to be running a gym, isn't it? As you go to the new year and hoping to get the Olive Harvest video up on YouTube too, plus a bathroom to build. Not too much then. My goodness, take it easy. Calma, tranquilo, you two. James, you're missing out. Egypt is stunning, especially Nefertiti's tomb. You get to say that you've been to Nefertiti's tomb as well, in the Valley of the Queens, and I thought that was a club in San Francisco. And Ramesses the second,
probably is.
I'm sure it is. The second tomb in the Valley of the Kings as well. Heat Haze would indeed be a great name for a band. Yes, if ever I start one, I'll be write that down, someone. You will love the Black Forest, not just the Gatto, but the place as well. You do resemble a woodland Walpertingle, James, which I hope is a compliment.
I wouldn't know, so I'll just say thank you.
Okay, yes, a Walpertinger, perhaps even better. Maybe there. Okay, yes. And then all that talk about France. Oh, Matty wanted to know where he can buy chicken's feet. Waiter, have you got chicken's feet? Yes, sir. Well, anyway, question for the Gumpers. Which supermarket can I buy chicken feet? Intermarché do them, but a butcher. If you go to a traditional...
anyone who does meat and chops them up would bound to have the feet of chickens, even if they aren't going to sell them.
All sorts of bits and pieces, I suspect, of offal for your dogs there. And Matty has a flock of the whitebirds coming to his pastry each day. Now, I'm not sure what he means by that. If he shares his pastel de nata with a flock of white egrets.
Sounds like gulls to me, but they're not all white.
Yes.
It's very difficult for me to imagine an egret or a heron like just marauding a table at a pastry shop,
stealing your chips and your Cornish pasty.
They're very, very shy. So.
Pete agrees, Matty. Go to the butcher's for your chicken's feet. Is a flog of German term? Is a flog a German term? A group of birds, as in the famous Fritzl quote. I have a flog of birds. He's not
like another rock group to me.
Yes, heron is.
German.
We did that as well. The cattle egret apparently has orange legs. Now you do see these characters. They forage near the droppings of the cattle, don't they? Of course, as well. Rich pickings.
Well, also rice paddy fields and places where there's going to be little tiny fish or lots of insects, or they like to pick stuff up off the ground. Yes. I think they're mostly carnivorous, though. I don't think they eat plants so much like ducks.
Okay, very good. Today's video, so we'll go out of that. Thank you, Chris. Your Capricorn Chronicle will be another postcard from London. Enjoyed that last week. Borodor, Jackie. Boroda, I mean. How is Hemel this morning? At least on the canal, you don't have to fight with the magic roundabout, which is a famous thing we might go into on another occasion.
That sounds like fun.
Yes, it does.
An amusement park ride.
And a children's program, actually, for us Brits as well from the 70s. Saint-Georges seems to be getting the a consensus as the correct answer this morning to our Portuguese citizenship test question. And yes, Stephen Stills, love the one you're with. We had one of the first Apple II computers in the UK and wrote payroll and accounting software for it, which ran a few years before we moved to a Mini with a full. They're beautiful things as well, aren't they? To be fair, with a full software suite, and it would have cost a bob or two as well, I suspect. Morning to you, Mr. S. Nice to see you this morning. And I want to know when both Carl and James are going to succumb to the inevitable conclusion that a comb over or forward is the way. I'm already doing it, Pete. I'm sure you must have noticed. And even when I go to the barber's, she's so sweet. She delicately, maneuvers the few hairs I have left into the appropriate position.
Missed one. Dink.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, in your hairdressing career, you the comb over, was that a taught thing?
No, it might. See, I was educated in cosmetology, which licensed me to do hair in lots of different ways, and nails and skin, and the whole shebang. I was just interested in doing the hairstyles, coloring, perms, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, but in barber school, they may have taught the comb over as a particular technique. I had a client who was very, very thin on top.
Yeah.
And he was asking me, he says, I don't know, the comb over just seems so, like forced. It just, so should I, go longer or what? I said, no, I think the way to go is actually to go shorter.
Yeah.
So, clean up the sides and take the top really short. And now you're not trying to pretend anything. And I think it looks better. And so
it doesn't really fool anyone, does it?
No, especially when you're combing over from the ear, all the way over to the other side. Maybe if it's starting up here at the parietal, okay, I can see that. But
that's right. And a gust of wind. The what? The parietal? What's that?
It's the bone ridge along the head here. Parietal ridge.
Wow. Yeah, and then a gust of wind, you're getting storm cloudy.
Especially if you have hairspray, it becomes a sail. Like, managing the wind. What?
Oh. Well, do what you want with your hair, but
yes.
I think you're probably right. And James's advice there: get it a shave, and revel in the fact that you've probably got more on your back and your face than you have.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be a shave, but just shorter. The go-to, I think, the logic is, well, with less hair, if I make it longer, then I balance it out. I still have more hair than I would if it was short, but it doesn't work that way in terms of appearance.
Or go to Turkey.
We've done the thing where they did you did a while back photos of guys with hair they were doing in a twirl covering the top, and it was all coming from the sides.
I did it with seaweed quite recently. I gave myself a proper Turkish go over.
I saw that.
And I thought that was actually quite convincing, and something that no one else did. I guess.
Yeah, I kind of lost my appetite when I saw that one.
Did you?
I just went, what is that? Oh,
right.
What has he done? Ew.
Really?
Okay.
That wasn't the effect I was hoping for.
He's kind of pranking us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just one more time then.
If you have an uneasy stomach, cover your eyes now.
If you haven't had breakfast yet. Oh, I thought I was getting away with this. I was in the bath. Oh, hold on a minute. That's
Look at those eyes. It looks like he's looking at you and me.
That's a bit weird. Okay, no, where was it? Oh, yeah, I need to do it on this particular setup here. Yeah, there was Mrs. M for some reason had put all her seaweed in the bath, and there are a few bits left. I thought, well, that looks very convincing, and I thought that looks very Turkish. Weekend in Turkey. Get your hair done, get your teeth done. Bit of soap for the teeth as well. So that wasn't fooling anyone then, as it turns out. Okay, all right. Let's get rid of that. And wish you a very good week and a good month, James. Don't forget to keep up with James on the Old Guy in Europe video channel. Every time they drop on a Friday, James is letting us know in the Portugal Club as well. So cheers, mate. Lovely to hang out and chat with you. Lovely.
Thanks so much. I always love doing it. I'm looking forward to next month.
All right. Take care and bye for now. We go out with Chris's postcard from London this morning. Ciao, ciao.
Morning. Good morning, Portugal. So today we're going to play Guess the Building. So what building is that slanted building over there? Do you know? Remember, there's no prizes, it's just for fun. Chris from Capricorn 12 checking in on a wonderful Monday morning. Also as well, if you look over there, you can see in the distance, what's in the distance? What's that big circular thing? Do you know? I bet you don't. I bet you don't. Good morning, Portugal.